This is Brian Brown with the Atlanta Business Journal, and I am sitting here with John Gibson, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff and Senior Director of Diversity and Inclusion of initiatives for the Motion Picture Association of America, or you may know them as MPAA. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
All right, so it was a long time. I had to write it down.
It is a title. Yeah.
So to tell us, what is your roles and your responsibilities for that title, and what does your department there at the MPAA do?
Okay. Well, let me first explain what the MPA does. So the Motion Picture Association of America, as you mentioned, is the advocacy arm. It's the trade association for the film and for the American film and television industry. Or we actually say like the global film and television industry. Most people identify the MPAA with our external face, if you will, and that's the ratings administration. So, every time you go see a movie, you'll see rated PG, PG-13, rated R. Some have gotten an NC-17, but nonetheless, it's a voluntary rating system. So our staff in LA, they handle that. So every movie that's in a major theater chain has been rated. It's completely voluntary, but if you want your films shown in the theater, you have to go through the rating system. So that's our external facing. But what we do behind the scenes, again, the advocacy arm, so we're fighting every day against online piracy, which is a huge issue, not only for the major studios such as ours, but particularly for creators of color and women. Greater intellectual property protection, content protection, just, again, interfacing with Congress, both at the state and federal level, and then also international. We have offices all around the world. So what I do is, 7 years ago, I created the Inclusion and Diversity Program. Again, we work on the advocacy arm. We work for our studios, the major, now 5, it was 6 as of 6 months ago, but Disney purchased 20th Century Fox, so it's now 5. And so again, I'm, working with them, inclusion is such a hot button issue in our industry. So working with our studios to do better work, they're doing some incredible things, highlighting what they're doing, but also interface with all of the major civil rights groups, all of the major multicultural groups who are committed to diversity in film and TV, and I'm on the boards of a number of film festivals who are pushing the agenda forward for people of color and women.
Definitely, I understand that. So with all that you do, what are some things that the MPAA is doing to bring more awareness to these content creators that are people of color?
One of the things that we did was really smart. Last year, we completely overhauled our website, we retooled it. And we have a great section now called Supporting Storytellers. So it tells the story of our diversity and inclusion programming, but it also has a link to all of our partners, our multicultural partners. So if you're learning about the MPAA, you can now also see about the American Black Film Festival, the Georgia Latino Film Festival, the New York Latino Film Festival, Women in Film, the Southern University Human Jukebox is one of our partners. You can, the White House Initiative on HBCUs under President Obama, we really forged a partnership, and we're glad that a number of the staff under him are all still there pushing the agenda for historically Black colleges and universities. So that's a great one-stop center to not only learn what we're doing, but what our partners are doing.
Okay, so you work mostly through your partners to create awareness.
Yeah, but I'm constantly on the go. I'm in LA. We're headquartered in DC, but I go to LA once a month, meeting with not only with all of our studios there, but a number of the talent agencies, the guilds. There are some film festivals out there. There are creative partners in the film and TV space out there that I'm meeting with. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do blogs. I'm kind of all over the place, educating. But a primary source for getting the word out really is film festivals. To me, film festivals are the breeding ground, the training center, if you will, for the next generation of talent for people of color and women.
And for these film festivals, like the Black Film Festival and even the Georgia Latino Film Festival, like how has the MPAA being a part of these film festivals brought more awareness to the content creators there?
Well, I think we facilitated the major studios. I mean, there are over 2,000 film festivals in the U.S., so that's a lot. So no one could possibly attend all of them. I mean, and the majors, Tribeca, Sundance, Telluride. I mean, there are major film festivals. But like, the American Black Film Festival, which I would say is the premier film festival of people of color in the country, averages about between 10 and 15,000 people. So it's not a major. And so when I first went in 2012, after creating this program, I didn't see the major studios there. I saw the, not minor studios, but each studio, the big ones, they all have smaller units underneath. I saw like the Focus Features, the Screen Gems, the TriStar, the Columbia, but I didn't see the Sonys, the Warner Brothers, the Disney, the Fox, Universal, and Paramount. What we've been able to do is facilitate that interaction. Like just last year, Sony opened up the American Black Film Festival with their only premiere of Superfly, which was filmed here. That was huge. So that interaction of having the major six working with these multicultural film festivals of color is huge. Because not only are they there to showcase films, but their executives are there doing master classes and panels, and there's a Q&A, and there's an opportunity for festival goers, content creators, to be able to interface with them.
Now, the past movie season, we've kind of seen this explosion of Asian content creators and Asians being in front of the camera. I know you guys are partnered with the Georgia Latino Film Festival. So what is those partnerships, and for that partnership, what is the goal? What are you looking to have happen in the Latino community to create more awareness, and also in the Asian community?
Well, people need to see themselves on film and TV. Kudos to Kevin Tijihara, Japanese-American descent, is the CEO of Warner Brothers. So he is the only Asian head of a major studio. He fast-tracked Crazy Rich Asians, and I've seen it now 6 times. And I was able, thanks to Warner Brothers, back in August, 2 weeks before it hit theaters nationwide, I did a screening, 250 folks, and the head of multicultural marketing for Warner Brothers, an amazingly gifted African-American woman, Tara Potts, said, hey, I don't just want the Asian groups there. Get them there, but I want all of the civil rights community there, because I want everyone, it's this intersectionality. I want people to see, yeah, they don't look like me, but they have the same family dynamic issues, the same struggles, the same concerns, the same interesting family dynamics. That was key. And again, people, particularly, black folks were there leaving out was like, I didn't think I would have anything in common with this film. This film's one of the funniest ones I've seen this year. So then I saw people on social media talking about it. So again, the Asian community needed to see themselves. It had been 25 years since the Joy Club that a major studio film with an all Asian cast. Look at our Latino audience. They 18% of the US population, but they drive the domestic box office numbers for the film industry. They go support all films, and they go as a family, so it's an event for them. But they're not seeing themselves as much as they should see themselves. And luckily, the studios are all now addressing that with interesting projects coming out. But it is important working with the Georgia Latino Film Festival, the New York Latino Film Festival, the National Association of Latino Independent Producers out of LA, to then identify the next generation of not just actors, because people just focus on in front of the screen, but what about your writers? What about your directors? And the thing about the film and TV industry, every discipline has an opportunity. You can be an accountant, you want to be a tax attorney, I mean, just electrician, everything is supported in the industry. So Hollywood is just not about what you see the person, your favorite actor or actress or your favorite celebrity director, but every opportunity is available in the industry. So that's why we partner with the festivals to educate them, to say, hey, if you want to, regardless of what you want to do in life, I'm sure there's a fit for you in the industry.
I mean, now you're doing so much great work. How did a kid from DC end up here? What was the spark that you got, being in that place or on your journey that made you have such a passion for what you do?
The kid from DC, just southeast DC. I had this conversation earlier with Ozzy Aru, who ran Tyler Perry Studios, Tyler has the new studio, so he purchased, he and his brother, so they have the Aru Brothers Studios. We just had this conversation, folks coming from humble beginnings to, a place where you can be an influencer. And I'm still struggling with that term influencer, because I'm constantly being influenced. So all blessings from above for all of this. But, it was, a drive. I never thought, if you said 8 years ago, would I be doing this? No. Again, growing up in the city, government is all around, putting myself through school. I had the opportunity of early working for Senator Barbara Boxer, California. And her office is, at the time was primarily filled with Californians. So someone took a chance on me. Did that, and then I got a call to be a political appointee working for the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture under President Clinton. There, I was able to see the world. My first trip anywhere outside the U.S. was to Hong Kong, and that was to set up events for the China PNTR, Permanent Normal Trade Relations, which I don't know if we have now. And from there, I went to, I'm not an attorney, but I went to do corporate diversity marketing, then went to another law firm, did public policy consulting, and then, I went to private equity, again, all around, and then it was announced that Senator Chris Dodd, who was a giant, I think the longest serving elected official from the state of Connecticut, he had just became announced as the new chairman of the MPAA. He was building his team, and someone said, hey, do you want to maybe, throw your hat in for it? I did. The senator and I connected on so many levels, and 6 months after I started, we knew, again, diversity was just a hot issue. And the senator said, you have a background in civil rights and corporate diversity, figure this out for us. And he nor I knew what that meant because there was no infrastructure or roadmap. But 7 years to this month, the program was born. And I think now we have, for any major trade association, probably one of the most aggressive diversity inclusion programs anywhere.
Now, and going through an interview, and I can see that service is a big part of what you, what inspires you, like to serve people. And there's a quote that I heard that you said that it is simply service that measures success.
Dr. George Washington Carver. So at USDA, one of the things I did also was I was on the task force for the USDA 1890s task force. In the 1890s are all the land grant historically black colleges and universities. And Dr. Carver coming from Iowa State and then Tuskegee, and I think there's another college that claims credit for him. But we have built a brand new building in right outside Washington. And we were trying to come up with a name. And I went to the then Secretary Glickman. I said, why not call it the Dr. George Washington Carver Center? I'm certain there are people now who work in that building that have no idea where that name came, why it was named after Dr. Carver. And he had, and I have in my home, a huge poster of him. And that was one of his favorite sayings. And I was like, every great leader has to learn how to be a servant first. It really is serving people. It is, even the needs of our festival partners, our studios. I feel like I do my best work when I'm helping to facilitate the best work of others. A liaison, a connector. It's never just about me. It's really about what others and what I can do to help them.
And there's, with that term of service, do you do like any mentoring or are there any programs that you, or in the future, like to kind of inspire the next generation?
Well, we do. We have a incredible partner, the Entertainment Industry College Outreach Program. Under that umbrella organization is a program called HBCUs in LA. It was created by Stacy Milner and her husband Ted Milner out of LA. What they wanted was for students from historically black colleges and universities to have the opportunity to experience the Hollywood life, if you will, the Hollywood experience. So it was launched in 2017. So what it is, for 8 weeks during the summer, travel and lodging is paid for, a paid job, whether it be on the studio lot, a talent agency, a PR firm, maybe working at a guild. 2017, 700 students applied. 13 were selected because you average about $10,000 per student. Last year, 2,000 applied, 30 were selected. I was in LA last week asking for, what's the update? How many applied this year? The response was so overwhelming, the system crashed. Wow. So we're probably looking at 3,000, and I believe we will maybe go between 30 and 50 students. But other, like, J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot just signed on, some other, Lionsgate, in addition to our studios. And we support 2 students because we have a unique partnership with Southern University out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So we have the MPAA Southern University Scholars. So we will sponsor them, I will mentor them. And again, it's taking these students from the southeastern United States, giving them an opportunity to experience Hollywood. And that, the industry is for everybody.
Absolutely. So it's, I guess one of the things that's to give back, or what are some, as far as for people looking to get into the industry, there's so many people come in, they want to be content creators, and it's a very, very competitive industry, but you can definitely make your mark in the industry. What are some advice that you would give to them?
A couple of things. For content creators, your phones your phones give you so much power these days. You can create your own content. Look at what Issa Rae did before Insecure, having an awkward black girl, and the network found her. And a lot of times when you interact with networks, they will like, create your story. If it's good and people are following, we will find you. But also, again, I can't speak enough about the importance of film festivals, because a lot of times they will have workshops and writing programs. But also the studios host stuff throughout the year. Obviously, you say, well, in LA and then New York, but also, Georgia's such a hub. More production happen here than anywhere in the world, so there's stuff happening here. But also, so constantly look at these websites of all of these studios and the networks and do your due diligence, because you have to do the work too. But there are a lot of programs out there. But also then come to the MPAA site, look under supporting storytellers, and look at the links to our partners. And you can then possibly find information there.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Going back to what you said about with Issa Rae and how she even started, and there's a lot of talk about the film industry. A lot of these big studios are going towards more of a streaming platform in this digital age, and I know the MPAA is more of an advocate for the film studios. Do you think, as from a theater perspective, do you think streaming, or just for the film industry, do you think streaming or digital is kind of is a threat to the industry as a whole?
I think there is nothing like that shared experience of being in the theater with a couple of hundred people you don't know. As opposed to, sometimes you might watch something by yourself and you might either laugh or have an emotional reaction to it. But when you're in that shared experience and you all are having that reaction together, and somebody might blurt out something and you look back like, exactly, or it's so funny and the person beside you might be elbowing on each other because you've fallen out. I think there's nothing that beats that. So I think if anything, it just supports it. It just gives all of our studios and the networks opportunities to get these stories out more so. But I think it will take nothing away from the theater experience. Plus, the theater owners are getting really savvy, and they're making the experience so nice that you're like, for the optimum experience, I need to be at a theater.
Okay. And with that theater experience, it brings so many people together, which is, what the diversity, that thread that combines us all.
I have this thing, and by no means did I create this, but it's this saying, but I just like to talk about it. You have diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and diversity is having a group of different people in a room. Inclusion is having them all participate. But that belonging piece says, I could not imagine this interaction happening without you. You belong here. Mm-hmm. And, in a place where so many people feel lost, people need to feel like they belong. Mm-hmm. And I believe film and TV has a place for that. When you can see yourself authentically portrayed on television or in the movies or on your smartphone. When I say authentically portrayed, regardless of how the government, the state or federal level may identify you, however you identify yourself, and folks are saying you matter, you are enough, we want you as you identify, we accept you, you belong here. Not only in your place of employment, your family, but seeing that reflected in a entertainment medium, I think that is so powerful. People belong. Mm-hmm. And I think the more we get the story out that people belong, the more some of the social issues that we're dealing with, particularly in this country right now, I think we will get over that hump.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think that there's definitely a place that we can be. With what you do, what is the hopes for what you do, and where are we going, and what's the goal of the entire goal, and what does that look like? What does success for you guys look like?
I think every inclusion executive in film and TV, I think in any industry, if they're working on diversity and inclusion, they want to work themselves out of a job. Because you want diversity and inclusion to be so ingrained, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, to be so ingrained into the fabric of how businesses operate or how we live our lives day to day, that you literally want to work yourself out of a job because everybody will just get it. But we're not there yet. We've made some advances. We have a long way to go, but we're committed to it. So again, constantly pushing the agenda, moving the needle, supporting the next generation of talent. I always look at No, Ryan Coogler, who, when he did Fruitvale Station, which was his first film, I brought him to D.C. to the MPAA. He had never been to D.C., obviously showcased the film. And just the passion about this project. 2 films later, just 2 films later, he has the 3rd highest grossing film of all time. So, independent film, first studio film, MGM's Creed, then you do Marvel's, Disney's Black Panther. Look at the gentleman who came behind him to do Creed 2, Stephen Caple Jr. Again, independent film, first studio film, MGM. MGM is really giving brothers a chance. But again, they all came through the American Black Film Festival. So they won, a competition that I believe HBO sponsored that gave them the seed money to then do these independent projects. Wow. So if we found them, where's the next generation? They're all out there. We just need to tap into it.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for being here today. You've really done a lot for diversity in film. How can people reach you? Are you on Facebook, or is it more just going through the website? How can and also keep up with what you're doing as well?
Well, yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm gonna give you my name. That's long.
Sliding those DMs.
No, I get a lot of those. Don't do that. I don't work in the creative space, so I cannot sign any deals. But it's the Earl, THE _ Earl of Grantham. Now you may say, what is that from? Well, one of my favorite shows is Downton Abbey. Okay. And if you had the Earl of Grantham. So you can find me there on Facebook, JC Gibson. And Twitter, I believe I am at HRHJCG74. But then also just shoot an email, john_Gibson@mpaa.org.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. And this is the Atlanta Business Journal.